Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you enjoyed my last video about Vinted and reselling tips. I hope those helped you. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about sourcing and the fact that it's getting harder to source vintage pieces now. But I did actually make a few notes, so we're just going to kind of reel off the notes I've put together. It's actually like factual information that I'm about to spill. So we're going to discuss a topic today which I have had a lot of requests to talk about, and that is why I think it's quite clear in the title why is sourcing so difficult now and why it's difficult to find vintage pieces when you're sourcing for clothing, whether it be for yourself or a shop to resell. And we're going to break down everything so that you guys are more clear on what is actually going on. So if you're like me and you love charity shopping, or if you're an American, you really love thrift stores, you might go into these shops and think, why is everything fast fashion? You're really not imagining it. It's literally like it everywhere you go. And I'm going to explain why, and I'm going to explain a few things about reselling and about sourcing that might be beneficial to you and also just interesting to listen to as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it brings some clarity in terms of clothing, fast fashion and sourcing and reselling and the whole vintage world that we're in. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So vintage now is becoming so much harder to source, and it's like the worst it's ever been. And I'm not just talking in the reselling world, I'm talking if you actually want to go and buy vintage for yourself. However, I think a lot of people look at resellers and they think that we have ruined the market, when actually that's not true. And I'm going to explain this all in this video, and hopefully it clarifies a few things for you. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing what's happening with sourcing, real problem with charity shops, and why vintage deserves a higher price. I'm going to discuss wholesale as well, and I'm partnered with a company called Fleek, so we'll get into that towards the end of this video, and hopefully that'll be able to help you as well with your sourcing. So we're going to break this down into a few little sections to help you guys understand what I'm actually making this video for and why it's so important for people to actually understand and know all of these things before they get into the reselling world, or if you just really love vintage, and why this is the case. So I think more than ever, especially in 2025, it's been so hard to find vintage in charity shops, carboot sales, and a lot of places where there are secondhand clothing. It's really difficult to find the really nice one-off timeless pieces. A few things that I feel like you guys should know. These are a few facts I feel like everybody should know, not just resellers. This is an estimated figure that on average people who live in the UK accumulate 26.7 kilos worth of clothing every single year, which is actually more than anywhere else in Europe at the moment. Clothing then that is bought is worn 7 to 10 times before it's discarded, thrown away, or sent back into charity shops. This is down to micro trends, trends that pop up and then everybody gets on and follows, except in another month they might not be trending, so what's the point of wearing the clothing anymore? We have to wear the next piece. And globally, the fashion industry is churning out 150 million garments per year, with 10 to 40% of those garments being unsold. I feel like people don't talk about this enough, and it's not me coming on here to have a rant or be negative in any sense. It's just to make you aware of these habits and how you could potentially change them. From all of these things are happening is that charity shops are now being flooded with masses, I mean masses, of fast fashion labels. And usually these garments are made with cheap materials and they're really low quality items. We'd actually put these down to being disposable clothes, which is ridiculous because clothes shouldn't be disposable at all. Meanwhile, when you're looking at all the genuine labels for vintage clothing that's made to last, really getting harder and harder every single day to find these beautiful items in amongst all of this fast fashion, unless you go to car boot sales, markets, or places where there are vintage sellers who have been collecting for years, or estate sales and that kind of thing. If you're walking into a charity shop now, you are going to be greeted with a lot of fast fashion labels that will not last the way that vintage does. That brings me to this whole idea that resellers are the villains. Now, let me clarify something to you. It's something that I've seen a lot of recently, and it's also something that I really want to talk about and fill you guys in, because before you come at me in the comments section with resellers are ruining vintage, they're ruining this, I want to explain this to you before and then you can have your opinion. That's absolutely fine. I want to stop you there before you drop your comments to just explain these few things to help you understand and clarify the situation right now. First of all, vintage items are not supposed to be cheap. They never have been. This is because it holds its value, it's more authentic, and it will actually last longer. Vintage items are always one of a kind. A lot of them have been handmade and they are really hard to find. So vintage being expensive is the whole point of vintage. It's always been that way. I'm telling you, it's always been that way. The charity shops that are raising their prices are not down to resellers. Charity shops now are actually drowning in donations, whether you want to hear that or not, they really are. And half of the stuff they can't even sell because it's got stains, holes, or it's been used so many times because of the cheap fabric, it's just been disintegrated. Now, I'm not actually here to name names or name big major labels, but I'm sure that if you've heard of fast fashion, you know the companies and you know the brands to look out for and which ones to avoid. With that said, the charity shops then, if they can't sell any of these garments, they become textile waste essentially. That's what this becomes. Because the fabrics that have been made were not made to last, and they've been bought so cheap. They're made cheap, they're bought cheap. And doesn't that scream help? These items are then sent to clothing waste textile units. Some of them are actually sent over to Pakistan. I can put some warehouse footage here for you guys so you can have an idea. But these warehouses in Pakistan are overloaded with hundreds and thousands of garments every single month, every single year. And this is all secondhand clothing waste that we are contributing to, whether we like it or not. We are, as humans, the reason why this has built up so much. Before I get into the whole idea of reselling and talking about all of this, I really want you guys to understand that reselling isn't just a niche for vintage, okay? It's been around for years and it's what every single company does in every single industry. So let me break this down so you really understand. Reselling is every single industry, okay? Now, supermarkets, for example, do not manufacture and grow every single item that goes on their shelves. I can tell you that right. A lot of these major supermarkets will buy the food in cheap and then they're selling it for profit, just like any other business. Nobody's shouting at Tesco for ruining groceries, are they? And there is so much food waste in the world, but we're not getting into that. Now, vintage reselling is the exact same thing. People buy in the stock, they sell it for profit. That's what people do. That's how businesses work. Except what we're doing as a reseller is quite a nice pivotal moment to talk about, because we're actually saving stock that could have gone into landfill that might not be seen again and destroyed, to give it a second chance by cleaning it, storing it, and making it into a brand new garment if necessary, just so that it gets a new life with somebody else. So unless you've stood in a warehouse filled with unsellable donations, please do not assume that resellers are the problem. I think the real problem that we really need to look at is overproduction. There's millions of clothes to clothe the next, I don't know, say 20 generations. There are so many clothes out there, and resellers are just trying to keep these clothes in circulation for as long as possible. By adding value to these vintage pieces and not destroying them, resellers are actually protecting the planet. Believe it or not, we really are. Okay, that's my rant over, and yeah, I just had to get that out there because I have seen so much online and it's just shocked me, to be honest, of how many people who haven't really spoken or seen, they're just following this train of people who say one thing but have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, especially if you're not inside this industry. Yeah, and secondhand fashion is the way to go, because once you have the garments that are made to last, they're gonna last longer. I mean, I have had a pair of shoes which were vintage. They were worn before me. I will say they're worn before me. I still have them and it's been 10 years and they still work. They haven't broke because they are meant to last, and that's important. This blazer jacket is from the 1980s. It's St. Michael's vintage, okay? It's my favourite jacket in the whole wide world. And again, somebody wore this before me and it's still got thousands and thousands of memories to make in it. Without further ado now, we're going to push past all the fast fashion and I'm going to tell you exactly where you can find amazing vintage gems from, now that it's becoming really harder with the overproduction. So car boots and markets are a brilliant source, and I'll tell you what, a lot of the time people are just clearing out their old stuff. I'm not just talking about clothing here, I'm talking about lots of different bric-a-brac things, furniture and things like that. a lot of the time, as people get older who have lived through these generations and these eras that are classed now as vintage, they're going to have some beautiful pieces that they have had for life, that they've collected over time. And so from that, sometimes they just don't have the room for them anymore, or they move out, they move on, and then they sell them to someone else. But that object holds so many memories already, and it's about to be loved by somebody else. Something else I would say as well is learning true vintage. One thing I will point out here is, so I love Vinted. I absolutely love, love, love Vinted. To resell on there as well, and also for myself, like to shop and buy like a little treasure hunt experience on there. But the amount of times I will see an item listed as Y2K vintage when actually it's not, it's a fast fashion label. I think because the tag's been cut out of it and it looks vintage, but it's not vintage. It just looks, it's a replicated version. I think people just assume it's vintage who don't understand what vintage really means. And that again is kind of like polluting the industry as well, with all of these garments that aren't vintage but people think they are. And again, I'm not ranting, I'm just saying that this is a problem, and it is a growing problem as well. With that said, all you have to do is check the labels and check the stitching. Most vintage t-shirts are single stitch, and these details don't lie. When you have a flimsy viscose polyester material, you genuinely know that it wasn't made in the 1960s or 70s. A lot of these 1970s, 80s, and 90s fabrics will be our nice denim, velvet, or they're going to have that really nice thick woven material that will just last a long time. You can even see in some of the garments as well where they've been handmade, and you can literally see the sewing and the patterns where people have actually made the garment. So that's another thing to look out for. Sometimes if you flip it over, they have a little tag underneath that's in red writing, that just has the size on it. I don't know why, but that was really, really big back in the day to do that. So that's another key sign that the item's vintage. And then another place that you could find amazing items from, not just to buy as a reseller, but to buy for yourself and handpick for yourself, is using this app called Fleek. Now, I'm actually partnered with them as an affiliate marketer. I absolutely love, 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 love what these guys are doing. And I'm fully on board to support them because I know that all the garments are coming from huge warehouses over in Pakistan, that are then being saved from landfill. So it's an amazing experience. Never shopped on there before. I'll just pop in here a little discount code that you might want to use when you check out with your first order. You'll get £25 off your first order when you spend £100. This video isn't sponsored by them. I just wanted to drop this here so that you guys can have a nice discount on me. It's really, really easy to navigate around the app to find what you're looking for. One of my top tips really quickly before we get into a few other things is to search on their app via exact bundle. For example, say you're looking for 1970s dresses or 90s windbreaker jackets, Ralph Lauren, you could be looking for absolutely anything on this app, okay? And I guarantee you that they'll have it. Don't mess around with representative bundles, if I'm really being honest with you. I've been there, I've done it, it's not great. But definitely use the exact bundle filter. If you use this filter and you actually scroll through the app and you actually go into the video, the guys out there will actually make a little video for you to look at and say, this is what you'll be getting in your order. And you can see every single piece. And some wholesale suppliers as well, if you write to them and you build a connection with them, they will allow you to do a video handpick with them. Or they can send videos of stock that they have. So my supplier does this. He's absolutely amazing. I love him so much. He will send me videos of the stock before it hits the shop floor, and I will pick the pieces that I really want in that month, and then he will build the bundle for me. He knows what I'm after. He knows what I love, and he puts it all together for me, and he is an absolute legend. Could not thank him enough. So definitely build relationships with your suppliers. Following from that, you could basically build your own dream wardrobe. If you have like £100 to spend and you shop on Fleek, you get £25 off, which is technically £75 for a whole new wardrobe, just sending a mood board over to a supplier. It's definitely worth it, and it's very fun. It's a very fun experience. Obviously, there's some beautiful vintage out there, and they have it all out there. So definitely give it a go and see how you get on. You are shopping online on Fleek, always look at the quality score check. So I'd say the ones I've tested and really work well for me are Creed Vintage, Diamond Vintage is another one to go for, and Italian Dream. I'd avoid anybody that has less than 4 stars, because you know that the quality is probably not going to be that great. And yeah, all the stuff that they send to you is genuine vintage, and it's beautiful, honestly. Some of the pieces I've had to keep because I don't want to get rid of them. And I think that just brings us now to talk about the bigger picture. So this isn't all about reselling, it's about sustainability as well. Fashion is actually responsible for 10% of global carbon emissions. That's more than international shipping and flights combined. UK households actually throw away 300,000 garments every single year, which is mind-blowing to me. I honestly can say that since I started my shop and since I have sort of grown as a reseller, at times it was really difficult to make ends meet. So I suppose that being able to say in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever thrown anything away. I'll always recycle it, or like I come from a family where my late grandma was a massive hoarder. She would not throw anything away. She used to even use like some of the plastic bottles and stuff as bird feeders. It was that crazy, but it meant that she'd never ever throw anything away. And she would always be doing something or making something. And that's just like my granddad as well. He's exactly the same. And I think when you're brought up from a family where you're taught not to throw things away, or there's always, I think, every man's trash is another man's treasure, and that's the way we've always been brought up. So yeah, it's quite interesting to see that. It just actually shocks me that people throw away stuff like it's nothing. And I think there's always going to be somebody out there that might want it. So donate it to charity if you can. Or like you say, turn a plastic bottle into a bird feeder, because that's my living inspiration every single day. Yeah. The saddest part, I think, though, about fast fashion is that no matter how long it stays in circulation, it's never actually going to become vintage. Reason being is that it's never going to become vintage because it's not going to last long enough to be vintage. And when I say that, I genuinely mean it. Like, I'm not over exaggerating. These garments get holes in, stains. They get to the point where you've worn a t-shirt about 4 times, and then it starts to get this idea of like discoloration weaved in everywhere. These garments, I'm telling you right now, are not going to make it for another 50 years. They're just not, because a lot of the time people are wearing them and then they're just disintegrating off them whilst they're wearing them. 4 washes and it's gone. And I just think that's why fast fashion will never, ever, ever, ever be vintage. I think it would be an insult, if I'm being honest, to call it vintage. But it's just not going to last. I'll tell you that right now. It will not last the way that vintage does hold its value, because these pieces are made to last. So that's why I'm saying that. I think by sourcing and rescuing old damaged clothing, we're not only making vintage accessible, we are actually fighting this textile waste war that we have without realizing. So yeah, being able to take a step back and look at your consuming habits. Again, I'm not telling you to go and actively do this. I'm just suggesting that this would be a better option. Because vintage is great. You can find amazing pieces out there that nobody else will have. And you can own your authenticity by doing this as well. So definitely, just make this transition if you can, and buy old rather than new, because there's always beautiful memories to make in something that's already been danced and made memories in already. So yeah, I think for me, it's always fascinated me because I love carboot sales. I love being able to go and pick pieces where there's like somebody there talking about the memories they've made in this dress or the memories they've made in this top. I love it. I think it's amazing. And the amount of like elderly people who I have met, who I would say they are beautiful souls inside out, who have made memories already in these clothes. And then they're just sort of passing it down to a new person. And it's the stories that they tell that make me want to buy the garment even more. because I know for a fact that when I come to sell that garment again, the person that's going to buy it from me, I have the story to tell about what they told me and the stories that I made in it as well. And they're about to make new memories in it too. So clothing lives on and it always will tell a story. That's why my slogan is write your vintage story today, because you literally are. Every time you buy a piece of clothing, you're about to make new memories in it. Yeah, and it's really exciting. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I hope this has really, really helped you understand vintage, and it's a little guide about maybe just like looking at your consumer habits as well and seeing where you can make a difference in the world if you're not already. And definitely check out the Fleek app. It's amazing, and use the code because you won't regret it, I promise you. And if you do have any questions when you actually log on, you can message me directly and I'll always get back to you within 24 hours. So feel free to shoot me a message over on the app if you need any help. If you're looking for something specific, please don't hesitate to drop me a message through the app. We're on a channel there and I'll be able to help you and speak to you. So yeah, definitely check that out. But yeah, vintage isn't just fashion. I would say vintage is history, and it always will be. Also, this idea of storytelling that's within it as well, as I've just explained. Sourcing has become so much harder with the fast fashion industry, but if you're clever, you're always going to find a little way to find the best pieces. Tell me in the comment section right now, what is the weirdest fashion piece that you've seen labeled as vintage when it's not vintage at all? Drop that in the comments, because I'd love to be able to hear and respond to you all. I just find it so fascinating and interesting. I don't think it's spoken about enough. I really don't. So hence why I'm making this video and many more videos to come about this. Yeah, I feel like that brings us to the end of this video. So if you like this video, hit the like button and comment if you feel like it. And please subscribe to my channel, because it means that I will keep making more videos like this. Let's keep giving clothing a second life. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.